It's 10 a.m. and students are taking their seats at a most unusual class.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's great to see so many people packed in here.
They have come here to Oaksterdam University in Los Angeles. It's a 2-day seminar on everything you need to know about opening up a medical marijuana dispensary.
I think this is a very good business opportunity.
That's something of an understatement. Marijuana, the legal and illegal variety, is California's biggest cash crop. And these future entrepreneurs will find a great big welcome mat on LA's doorstep.
This is a pretty exciting thing to be able to come here and meet with other cannabinistas to learn a little bit.
Los Angeles is now home to more medical marijuana dispensaries than any other city in America. Estimates go as high as 500, making them more common than Starbucks. Paul Lerner lives near 5 of them.
There's one opening virtually on every corner. That's crazy.
He gave us a walking tour of the clinics near his home in the Melrose area.
So we just saw that one a block away.
Right.
This is number 2.
This is number 2.
In a 1-block area.
Right, and then there's just a few doors down, there's number 3. And if we go down a couple more blocks, there's 2 additional ones.
So 5.
5 within about a 6-block area. Yeah. And that's ridiculous. That's great. That sort of over-concentration.
It's not that Lerner is against medicinal marijuana. He voted for Prop 215, which legalized the drug's use for medical purposes in California.
You voted for this. Tell me about that.
I voted for this, and I think medical marijuana for people with cancer and AIDS and glaucoma is a very good thing. But just like I don't want 20 liquor stores in my neighborhood, I don't want 20 marijuana dispensaries in my neighborhood. And that's what we're going towards.
That also worries Hancock Park resident Cindy Shavatel-Keen.
On either side of this dispensary is a public library. It's in a little mall. About 15 feet away is a public library. And about a block and a half away, is a preschool.
But this isn't just a West Side problem. The small community of Eagle Rock now has 11 dispensaries open for business. That's more than you'll find in the entire city of Oakland.
It's more difficult now to open a yogurt shop in Eagle Rock than it is to open a dispensary.
So how did Los Angeles become such a magnet for marijuana clinics? Well, back in 1996, the city allowed dispensaries to open for business. But in 2007, faced with complaints that there were too many, the city council passed a 1-year temporary ban on all new dispensaries. And the council planned to use that time out to draft tougher laws and regulations.
What this medicinal marijuana dispensary interim control ordinance will do is prohibit the opening of any new medical marijuana dispensaries in the city of Los Angeles.
The temporary timeout didn't work. At the time, there were 186 dispensaries. Now, there are several hundred. And with marketing strategies like staying open until midnight and selling pot-related merchandise, even sneakers, some dispensaries appear to be targeting young people. After all, almost anyone can get a doctor to recommend medical marijuana for ailments ranging from insomnia to stress.
It's out of control. There's no question it's out of control.
Councilman Dennis Zine sponsored the temporary moratorium in 2007.
They're not supposed to be opening. They're opening using an excuse of a hardship.
He's talking about this, a hardship exemption application. Anyone wanting to open a dispensary must fill one out and explain why they should be permitted to open despite the ban. Just about anything can be considered a hardship. Zine claims it's a loophole that's allowed dozens of unregistered and, he says, illegal medical marijuana clinics to open.
There was never any mention about a hardship when we put this ordinance in place. It was one of those under the line. It was the small print that no one could read. And that's the scam of it.
Not exactly. It's clearly written in big, bold print.
It wasn't put in there through the city council. This was put in by the city attorney's office, and then I heard from the deputy city attorneys, well, we need to do this to protect ourselves. Protect ourselves from what? We have an ordinance that says you don't do this, period.
Let's go ahead then and open the roll on those 3.
Fellow Councilman Jose Huizar told us something different.
If a person simply fills out an application, a hardship application, are they then allowed to just open a dispensary?
At this time, yes.
But that's not what's in the ordinance, and that's not what's on the city's website. Instead, it clearly says you can't open a dispensary by just filling out the form. Residents don't understand why city leaders seem to be confused by the very law they wrote.
These places have not been granted permits to open. They've applied, but they haven't been granted, and they're opening anyway.
And that's illegal.
Why doesn't the city just come and shut this place down?
That is the $64,000 question.
The Department of Building and Safety is in charge of enforcement. It has issued some citations, but seems to be lacking support from City Attorney Rocky Delgadillo.
I believe Building and Safety has been advised by the city attorney that they are to do nothing. That's my understanding.
When we started asking questions, we witnessed a good round of the blame game. City Council member Dennis Zine blames the city attorney for putting in the loophole and Building and Safety for not enforcing the law. Building and Safety points back to the City Council and the city attorney for not writing better regulations. The city attorney blames the City Council for not approving the hardship applications. They all point to the Planning and Land Use Management Committee for not hearing any of the hardship applications. And round it goes.
Dennis Zine and Jose Huizar were among the few who would talk to us about this story. Despite repeated requests, the city attorney's office, Building and Safety, and the planning department all refused comment on our investigation.
Who's going to admit that we didn't do a good job regulating this in the first place and that we screwed up? There's no political advantage to doing that.
It's a political football.
It's a political football.
Meanwhile, rogue clinics keep popping up, and no one in LA knows how many there are, where they are, or if they are legal.
Who knows this one's legal, this one's not? This is the full list.
I wish somebody had a full list. If someone has a full list, I don't know. I don't know who knows. I don't know if anybody knows. It's such a mess.
I'm as frustrated as the residents of the communities.
Councilman Zine took us to an unregistered dispensary just down the street from his district office.
I think it's ridiculous to have it next to a liquor store, ridiculous to have it next to a school. There's no restrictions now, and that's the problem.
A problem some residents say the city council caused with its inaction.
Almost every city has gotten its act together and put regulations in place for marijuana dispensaries, except Los Angeles. And Los Angeles, we have the highest paid city council members in the country. What are they doing? Why can't they get their act together and put some basic, reasonable, sound regulations in place?
Every day when you come in, you try and follow the law, you try and cross your T's and dot your I's, you know, some would say, but it makes it difficult when you have people around you not doing the same thing.
Kristen Lynch runs a registered dispensary in Hollywood. She resents those who aren't playing by the same rules she does.
They're about the profit if they're not paying taxes and if they're not documented.
What is occurring is people who are anxious to make a buck are screwing it up for those dispensaries who are operating by the law, doing everything legitimately, and is questioning Proposition 215 altogether.
Well, Councilman, I don't mean to badger you, but you feel that outrage and you're upset about it, but you are the guy. You're the council. You're the government. So I think people are frustrated because they go, well, why isn't the council doing anything?
Well, let me tell you, I am the one that's doing something.
On May 1st, Huizar introduced a motion to eliminate the hardship exemption. Just the threat of ending the loophole seemed to have an unintended impact. The day of his announcement and every day since, the number of applications has skyrocketed, 18 on May 12th alone. At last count, the total number of applications was 380.
Well, they're afraid the loophole is going to close because if you file for a hardship exemption, you can go ahead and open. So people are rushing to get their exemptions filed.
Those exemptions are supposed to be reviewed by the Planning and Land Use Management Committee, of which Huizar is a member. His committee hasn't looked at a single one since 2007.
I am urging the chair of the Planning and Land Use Management Committee to hear these items, to say yes or no to those who have applied, so that if we deny a hardship exemption, those dispensaries will be out of business.
Who's going to enforce that? Because the police don't seem very eager to go in there. The city attorney doesn't seem very eager to go in there and shut these down.
Well, that's the problem. This whole place the whole area right now is murky.
And remember, the city was supposed to draft a tough new law during the temporary ban on dispensaries. It's been over a year, and it's still not done.
LA City is asleep at the switch because we haven't done our job, and that's what I'm pushing for, is to get our job done.
I understand the viewpoint that These places aren't licensed by the city, but at the same time, can you blame them? The city's not shutting them down.
We do have a couple of things I just want you to think about.
And that's good news for the students at Oaksterdam University. And as if they needed any more incentive to open a dispensary in Los Angeles, look at what we found. San Francisco, home to only 22 dispensaries, charges $8,400 in fees and permits to open shop. Oakland, which has 4 clinics, charges up to $30,000 in annual fees. And Los Angeles? Nothing. The application is free. And while both the city council and the city attorney work on the new law, the number of hardship applications is approaching 400, forcing residents to make room for their new neighbors.
You know, it's a shame. I mean, it's a shame that the city and our city council and our mayor is allowing this to go on. It doesn't happen anywhere else. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the state of California. It's happening only in Los Angeles.
Only in LA, a new take on an old cliche. I'm Judy Muller for SoCal Connected.